Have you ever wondered how to get that marbled look on your cookies that complements any design? Well, here's a great step-by-step video I've made for you. So first things first, I need to prep my icing. If you guys need a good royal icing recipe, you can check out my tutorial on that. So what you'll need is a bowl that's not too deep, but also has a wider opening because it'll be easier for you. And I'm gonna scoop some icing that just got out of the mixer, and you can see it's still pretty stiff. So I'm gonna give a few scoops here just to make a thicker sort of layer on the bottom of the bowl. And once I have enough icing, or think I have enough icing, I will go ahead and grab some water and add a little bit water at a time because we don't wanna make it too thin. So like I said, I'm using a measuring cup to pour a little water, but if you are using smaller amounts, you can either use like a dropper or like a teaspoon or something just to control the amount of water. And I'm going to go ahead and mix it in here. What we're going for is a sort of in between your outline consistency and your flood consistency. I normally, if you've seen some of my videos, my flood is quite thin. I like it to be a little bit looser. So I don't want to go that thin because what we're going to do is be dipping the cookies, and if the icing is too thin, it won't give you good coverage. So here you can see I'm lifting up the spoon. It doesn't look quite thin enough. I don't want it too thick either because it won't stick to the cookies well, and it'll be really hard to get my cookie out of that bowl. And you can see that the icing that's falling off is not melting right back into the icing right away. It takes it, you know, a few seconds to sort of start to melt and go away and smooth into the icing. So again, I'm just gonna add a little bit more water just to thin it out just a tad. You're just looking for something sort of smooth, a little bit thicker than what I would normally flood with. And so here you can see when I lift my spoon up, it ribbons off nicely. It's melting in, but melting slowly. And it's not too hard to mix. It kind of mixes nice and smooth. This looks perfect for what we need. Once you have the right consistency, you want to cover your bowl with a wet or damp paper towel and let it sit for about 15 minutes. The reason why we do this is when you let the icing sit, all those bubbles will rise to the top and you can pop them. If you don't pop them, when you start dipping, you'll have quite a few bubbles on your cookies. Sometimes it does give a cool effect, but if they don't pop, they kind of leave little bumps on your surface. So here I'm just running my spoon over the icing. It's a little bit hard to see, so just keep going with your spoon until you can get as many bubbles as you can. You'll never get them all, but we'll try. So I have my cookies here, and I've picked a few different designs for you. I had a leftover cactus cookie from a while ago and some, different shapes just to show you how it looks or works with different shapes. Doesn't have to be always a perfect circle or hexagon. You can do various shapes as well. I also have some icing here. Again, these are some leftover colors that I had from a previous order, and I just thought, it'd be great to use these ones together. Okay, now we're ready to dip our cookies to get that effect. So I'm going to start with black icing because I always like that classic black, gray, white marbled look. And so what I'm just doing is just squeezing a few lines onto my bowl of icing with the black. And you can just go in any direction and then take a scribe. If you don't have a scribe, you can use a toothpick as well. And just sort of run through the icing just to sort of, you don't want to mix it up, but you just want to swirl it around a little bit just to break up those lines a bit. So now I'm going to take my first cookie, and just a side note, if you bake your cookies a little bit thicker, it does help because it makes it easier to take out of the icing. So I'm just pushing down all the corners to make sure that the icing gets to all the edges. And then I'm going to lift up my cookie here, and I'm just going to wait till that sort of line that's dripping down gets a little bit shorter. So I'm able to flip my cookie quickly, give it a shake just to even out the icing. And there you go. Just that simple. And so we're just going to put it to the side here to dry a little bit. So I'll show you guys again if I mix it up a little bit just to mix the icing in. You can see now that it's starting to turn a little bit gray. So if I dip it, I'm just pushing all the edges in because you want to make sure that it gets covered all the way. Lift it up slowly. And again, just wait till that sort of icing, you can sort of shake it off the excess or not. If it's too runny, it'll flow off too quickly. If it's too thick, you'll have a big mound and you won't be able to smooth it out. So you can see with a quick little shake there, I can even out the icing. So again, if you want, you know, less black, you can add more white icing on top if you put too much and you don't like it. If you want more black, you can do that. White is my base color here, but you can always start with another color base like a black and put white drizzle on top. The options are really endless and it looks awesome, you know, with just black and white, or you can add some color to it and do whatever you want basically. So here I'm going to mix my icing up just a little bit more just to get it a little bit gray, and I'm going to put it half on the gray, half on the white icing just to give you guys an idea of what it will look like. And again, you know, it helps if you have a thicker cookie because you do see I have to sort of pick my cookie out. So if it's too thin, it's pretty hard to get out of your icing. And what I really like about this method is it's pretty quick. So sometimes a little bit quicker than flooding, and it gives you a different look each time. Here you can see I have a little bubble here, so I'm just trying to pop it and run my scribe through it. Sometimes it does happen, especially with the first few cookies, you do get some bubbles, but then eventually they'll work themselves out. And I can just clean up the edge there with my scribe, and just, you can see this one has a lot more white to it because we sort of used more of the white icing, but it gives a really neat look too. And like I said, they're all sort of individual. And again, if you have any more bubbles, you can pop them while the icing's still wet before it sets. Okay, so now I'm gonna shake it up a little bit and add some color. So I'm gonna add some pink that I had. So again, layer it on top of the black and the white and just go through with my scribe. Again, if you don't have a scribe, just with a toothpick or anything that's sort of pointy, run it through. And again, just put your cookie in there and then just sort of go around the edges, make sure you get everything, and depends which way you pull it off. If you pull it off straight up, your icing will fall off in the middle. If you pull it off more to the side, your sort of marble will head to like sort of go to the side. So you can see where I pulled off. That's where the icing sort of comes together. So there you can do different designs by pulling it off, you know, to the right side, to the left side, straight up. And you can see it's really cool the way the color incorporates in there. And so what I like to do every once in a while is add a little bit more color so that the pink does stand out. So here I'm just drizzling again the same thing for my next cookie and running my scribe again quickly through it. And then doing the same process again. And this one we'll just have a circle cookie and just take it out. Large or small, it kind of works the same. You get the idea. But it's a really quick way, and you can also flood your cookies this way. You don't have to necessarily do a marble. It's a great way to quickly flood cookies if you have tons to do. You can just dip them instead. I'm gonna add some blue now just to give it another dimension here, another color. And I'll use a different shape cookie here just to show you that really any shape works. And again, just make sure that you get all the corners, especially with a cookie like this that's a little bit pointed. But you can really put any color, any layer of the colors you want, you know, mix them up a lot, mix them up a little, really have fun with it. And it's kind of foolproof. Like any way that the icing comes out, it just looks so cool, it looks so pretty, and it gives you a great background to any design that you want to do. And if you have any icing, you can see here on this cactus that I did, it's just kind of coming over the edge. You can just clean it up with your scribe. Your scribe is your best tool, you guys. It is so good for popping bubbles, for cleaning up edges like this if it comes off. And you want to do this obviously before the cookie starts crusting over, the icing dries up a little bit. You want to do it when it's freshly dipped so you can still get that clean edge. And there you have it. You can see that you can do any shape really. Any color, you can layer them less, more, you know, your base layer can be any color, and it really works for any theme, any occasion. If you're not sure what to do with your cookie, somebody wants a simple set and doesn't give you many ideas, well, this is a great way to make it a little bit more fancy. You know, you can add some gold to it, go along the lines. That was a really simple technique that gives you great results. If you're looking for more ideas like this, you can check out some of my other videos and tutorials. I've got a lot of great ideas there for you as well. And thanks for watching as always, and happy baking.